What's up, everybody? Welcome back. I'm Abe. This is EVE Online, and I just reactivated my Omega account, and I'm going to try to take my Macariel out for a mission. And this buzzkill mission looks like it's going to be pretty intense. So I've already outfitted my ship with the appropriate resistances. It is explosive, thermal, and kinetic. So I've got 2 adaptive invulnerability field 2s. I've got thermal dissipation field 2. I've got a shield booster, and I've got a micro jump drive along with 800mm scout repeating cannons. So these are the shorter range version, and as you can see hovering over it, I've got 50-kilometer fall off and like 3,500-meter optimal. So optimal plus a third fall off means that I probably want to be in the, I don't know, let's say a third is 16 to 17 kilometers plus 3.5, so about 20 kilometers is where I want to be. I've got drones that are going to be doing the damage I need, and it looks like wave after wave after wave. So if things get really hairy, I'm going to have to hit my jump drive and then get out, and maybe I'll swap over to artillery. I've got 1,200 millimeter heavy scout artillery in the wings in case I need it, and I'm really hoping I don't get myself blown up because this is an expensive ship and I can afford to replace it maybe once, but I don't want to. So let's just be careful and see how it goes. So yeah, so there's an initial group, a backup wave, and a reinforcement wave, and there are triggers aplenty everywhere. So in the first group, there are assault cruisers and a frigate and a bunch of assault frigates. So the frigates are all triggers, effectively. So we want to kill the arch cruisers first, and
warp drive active.
Yeah, kill the arch cruisers first, and then we'll get into the frigates and the assault frigates after, which means I'm going to leave my drones in here. Man, I really don't want to lose this ship. This is going to be heartbreaking. And you know what? I should go reinsure this ship. Although I don't think I'm going to get much for it. So hopefully it'll be an acceleration gate here, so I don't worry about so I don't worry about getting locked. But nope. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's get back in there. Come on. Let me dock back up.
Warp drive active.
Yeah, warp drive. All right. So there are all the assault cruisers, and we'll zoom out. Looks like they're about 30. So just to select one. Oh, looks like I'm already under attack, but we'll get out of there. My default orbit distance is 15,000 right now, but yeah, I'll leave that there for the moment because I think I knew what I was doing previously. I'm not so sure I do now. It may be safer for me to just load the artillery and deal with it long range because it's a little bit safer. I can stay out of range of the warp disruptors and the various webifiers and such. So I think I'm going to leave it for now, though, and see what happens. And in the meantime, let's make sure that we are insured. We'll insure Susan. Yeah. We got a lot of expired. Ooh. All right, so it's not much of a... I pay 54 million and I get 180 back if I get blown up. I guess that's not nothing, but damn, 54 million is a lot to just drop. All right, you got to be insured though. I do think, I don't know, I view the micro jump drive as sort of a get out of jail free card, and I don't know. Yeah, I am really nervous doing this.
Warp drive active.
Hey, I got both dogs in here. It's Halloween, And I'm hoping that the doorbell doesn't go off too often, because it'll be kind of noisy, to say the least. All right, so we're warping in. I will activate my shield invulnerability fields and such. And so I got to get myself moving. And we will... All right, so I see all these red numbers coming up, and I get a little concerned, but taking out that first one, relatively okay. And again, I'll orbit the last one. And just by killing one of these, it looks like the bounty is 270k. So I already cleared the one agency mission there. And I'm going to pulse my shield booster just to keep my shields as close to max as possible. Yeah, there we go. I'm not super fast, obviously. I'm flying at 200 meters per second. So far, I don't see the assault frigates. So that's good. I could drop my medium drones, but I don't want them to be targeted. Right now, I'm doing okay. And once you get into these longer fights, you need to keep track of and make sure that you are on top of your ammo and reloading whenever possible. So, or at least whenever you have an opening. So it looks like that little blue circle is my orbit ring, and I'm orbiting this one. So before I kill this one, I'm going to reload. And yeah. So let's see. All right, we're reloaded. We're clear to go. Looked up the mission on Eve Survival, and it didn't tell me anything super special. So while I'm here, I'm going to do a scan. I'm going to check for... I'm going to check for combat probes. I don't see any. And I'm going to drop my... I'm going to reload again, just to stay on top of things. I dropped my mobile tractor unit, and it takes me a long time to lock onto these guys. So Gisty Thug. Which one is the Thug? There we go. No, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my drones and get them on the Thug, because that's the one that's webbing me. And I'm going to keep my eye on their health, because if they get targeted, I need to suck them in pretty quick. But this guy should trigger the reinforcement wave, which is going to have quite a bit of enemies here. Quite a few enemies. Yep, come on back in. Come on back in, drones. There we go. There we go. So these are orbiting me too quickly for me to actually, like, do much damage to if I shot at them. Now, if I could get away from them, I'm traveling far too slowly for that to actually work. But if I could, we'll drop out some more drones and get them back on. You know, that I'm going to trigger the reinforcement wave or the backup wave first. Which means killing these guys. Oh, all right, turn that off. The assault frigates are pretty tough. Again, though, I got to keep my eye on. All right. It's not really worth it to for me to unload a bunch of ammo at these guys, just because there isn't. Yeah, bring those drones back in. They're starting to draw aggro again. There we go. Oh, warp disrupted. All right. So I'm going to try to micro jump drive away and see how that works. I think it'll drop me at 100 kilometers from here. Yep, and all right. So now they're outside of my target range, but as they get closer, I can just sort of kite them. Now this would be much more advantageous if I had artillery, but I need to be within 90 kilometers. All right, and again, this assault frigate is the one that I need to kill last. And since they're all approaching me sort of directly, they won't have any real angular velocity to me. So, ideally, I will be able to pick them off as they get in range here. Might as well reload while I'm flying away. And if I want to give them a chance to catch up, my mobile tractor unit, let's save the location here, is 120 kilometers away, and as such, it only can pull from something, I forget, 150 kilometers or even 120 kilometers, I think is its maximum range. So we'll pull these in here. There's a good long cooldown on the large micro warp drive. So, all right, 81, 79, 50 kilometers is the fall off. So I could take a shot. If I hit, it would be lucky. If I did hit, it wouldn't do very much damage. So you can see I got one shot in there. I might be able to take them out as they get closer. I'm not overly concerned about wasting ammunition because I'm just using Tech 1 ammunition and there's not much to it. See that one frigate that I'm trying to avoid came in pretty quickly. And he's already in range. And as these get closer, they'll die much faster. And I think I need to kill all 4 of these to trigger the backup wave. So in this backup wave, the cruisers, the assault frigates are the trigger. So we can kill those cruisers. as well reload before we jump back in there. So I'm taking a little bit of damage from this frigate, and he's got me webbed as well as warp disrupted. I'm not overly concerned about that, but I am... See, now I'm only flying at 50 meters per second. Let's see if there are any combat probes out. There aren't. So these guys are not even headed my way, so I might as well just warp on in, or jump in anyway, and take all of them out except for the assault frigates. The hunters I think I can kill, but the impalers... No, maybe not. And you can see that just my resistances are keeping my shields pretty strong through this. Basically, this micro jump drive allows me to bounce back and forth in and out of range of, you know, the enemies that are there. And I just need to survive long enough to be able to hit it one more time and sort of bounce out. So I think it's like 3 minutes from the looks of things as a cooldown. And I just need to keep my eyes on my drones. Nope. Starting to take damage. Come on, get in. There we go. I've got my drones on aggressive. It's suggested that I keep them on passive just so they don't accidentally kill the trigger. But all of the spawns that were promised with this backup wave did not come. So I am trying to kill what looks like a potential trigger for the reinforcement wave. But this singular Angel frigate is the one that will trigger, well, that is supposed to be the trigger for that. Drones sure are taking their sweet time. Alright, gotta get them back. Pretty soon I'm going to get hit with a web by this Angel frigate. Yep, there it is, and a warp scramble. I just need to make sure that that one drone's shields don't go any lower. And also you can tell when they're changing targets to the drones when it goes from red to yellow. Now, I believe that when this ship dies, that there should be another spawn. It might be 3 more assault frigates and 3 more frigates. Yep, see that? The assault frigate turned yellow. It was targeting my drones. And now they're back to targeting me again. A lot more active management in running these missions, at least at higher levels. I feel like you need to really pay attention. Unless you're very highly skilled and you're sort of out-leveling the missions themselves. Yep, alright. There are the assault frigates. Now, if I can get them locked in and targeted before they get too close, I might be able to kill 1 or 2 of them with my main guns. But because they're such small ships, it takes a long time to actually get a target lock on them. There we go. That's 1. And again, because I'm flying in a straight line, I'm back to being 53 kilometers away from my mobile tractor unit. But because I'm flying in a straight line and they have to chase me, you can see that that their angular velocity to me is much lower because they're chasing me. All right, so we got those 3 that just spawned, 3 more assault frigates, and so far so good at managing the triggers. I'm just going to keep the guns blazing. Like I said, I mean, we're outside of the fall-off range, which means we're less than 50% chance to hit, but because we hit so hard and these ships are small, the ammo I'm using isn't super valuable. I'm not too concerned about that. What's interesting is this frigate that was originally warp scrambling and webbifying me, or webbing me, has stopped doing so. Still has me targeted, is still shooting me, and doing, you know, a piddly amount of damage, but not a threat at the moment. All right, so that said, once we kill this Angel frigate here, things are going to get a little hairy. And I'm going to line this up, so instead of approaching my MTU, I'm going to be flying in the general direction of it so that when I jump kind of outside. So let's take our drones out. We'll stick them on the remaining trigger, or this last ship, and it should trigger the reinforcement wave, which should be quite a few ships. And we don't want to kill defeater or breaker cruisers. Alright, I'm going to pull my drones in just to get them. It's good to have your targets effectively gain their most aggro, or the threat, on you first. And then, alright, so first we get these. All 3 of them are painting me as a target. And I gotta believe that as I kill these, others will spawn. Either that or it's a timed thing. Overall, the DPS of these 800mm guns are higher than the artillery would be, but it's much safer to use artillery just because you're so much further away and not as many ships can attack you at that range. All right, now we get the assault cruisers, and I'm going to sort of fly away from them. And while they come in, I'm going to reload. Takes a little bit, so I probably should have waited and reloaded at the end of that first wave with the assault frigates, but you know, just let there be one left and alive. If I was concerned about my DPS, I could drop some medium drones here, but I'm not at the moment. I'm just kind of taking it slow and trying to be safe. So after these should be battle cruisers. And you can tell by the little icon as well. These are cruisers. They're technically assault cruisers, but you can tell they're doing a decent... they're doing more damage than their smaller counterparts. So I actually have to repair some of the damage that's coming in. And if you remember, I set the optimal orbital distance or orbit distance for me was like 15 to 22 kilometers, 15 to 21, somewhere in there. So I'm at like 38 to 40, and I'm able to do some damage, enough to whittle these guys down. If I really wanted to, I could get a little bit closer to them and do more damage quickly. But right now, I'm just kind of taking it slow. So I've got these 4 assault cruisers. I've got the next wave, which let's scan for. Yeah, okay. The next wave is 5 battle cruisers and 4 assault cruisers. So 5 like the ones that we had here. So once this gets low health, what I might do is just reload. You see how much? Yeah, I got enough ammo left. So this may be a little bit longer video just because I'm running through and trying to be safe, and then I'm going to come back and show you how I salvage and loot everything with a destroyer ship. Most of you may already know how to do that and sort of what the standard practice is, but for me, you know, a lot of these videos have been focused on helping people learn the game, and this is one way to... This is a further, I guess, deeper part of the game to learn, and if you don't know, then this can be informative. So as you can tell, I've got 7 guns here, and they're all grouped. Let's see. You know, I may just target these battle cruisers first. Yeah, well, we'll see. Maybe I will just take out the cruisers first. Yeah, see that battle cruiser hit for 100. 189. Yeah, that's not nice. That is not nice. But the assault cruisers aren't exactly doing nothing. So it's sort of a balancing act. You've got your capacitor. You've got this item that uses capacitor. And I could have instead of this micro jump drive, I could have an item that boosts the amount that's healed by this in my in the shields. But like I said before, I'm kind of erring on the side of safety. And then you just got to hope that your capacitor can recharge in time. So it looks like I'm kind of outside the range of these battle cruisers for the most part. Well, I say that and then I get hit. I don't want to come off as a curmudgeon, but I am that guy who's got the front lights to his house on or off, and he's in a back room so that the children don't come knocking. I don't have any candy. My wife's out of town. I might as well just sit in the back and play games. So there it is. All right, so I just directed myself to fly back towards these ships. You can see my line kind of passes right back through my mobile tractor unit. I'm trying to keep everything close to that. Just so that it can grab stuff and pull it in. And I'm not super fast, so I'm not like zipping back in there. The other option I had on here previously was an afterburner, and that would bring me up to 500 meters per second or more. And it allows me to be a little bit more agile. I'm sure that I don't know everything there is to know. I'm sure I make mistakes in both the fitting and my strategies. So if you have a polite and kind way to correct what I'm doing or to give me some advice, I'm open to hear it. I'm not really looking to be shat on, so please don't do that. Boy, I hit that guy hard. Okay, all right. Well, it looks like the... yeah, we've got a bunch of... All right, now the cruisers in this next group are the triggers. All right, I'm going to try to move away again. Just to slow down their approach. Start targeting the frigates so that I can kill them as they come in. Pulse my shields a bit, build that back up. Always attacking the one that's closest first. You got destroyers next. See, I'm getting a little low in ammo in these guns, and that's not the end of the world. It's just you don't get to pick then sort of when you reload. Destroyers don't hurt from afar generally, but if they get up close, a lot of times their guns hurt because they're small guns on destroyers, but they're big. But there are a lot of them. There's often like 8 per ship, 6 to 8 if I'm remembering correctly. But they're very squishy. So if you land a hit, a lot of times you can one-shot them. All right, let's go and get back in range a little bit. Head back towards our mobile tractor unit. They're all about the same range. I'll reload. And these aren't assault cruisers, so they should be a little bit softer than the previous ones. Let's see what they've got here. Getting some bountiful prey agency rewards in, so that's nice. Let's see, and that's part of the Crimson Harvest. These cruisers are taking a little bit longer to kill than I thought they would. But because I've got autocannons, as I get closer, I get deadlier as well. So the next and last wave after I kill these should be the battleship spawns, and there are 4 of them. So that we will have to manage our shields and our overall threat. That way I will probably drop the medium drones to help with the damage that I'm doing. I don't have... I didn't bring any heavies, but the mediums should be enough to add, you know, a good amount of damage. Yeah, we're still good. And I'm using Tech 2 drones, so they're a little bit more... They're definitely more expensive, so if you lose them or forget them, that's a pain. And they do more damage and they're faster and better overall, so more useful. Alright, so we'll take out this last cruiser, we'll get some battleships spawning in, and at that point when the battleships are in, since we're in a battleship, if we are more agile than they are and able to orbit in a small, sort of at a small range, we can stay outside of their tracking, which if you look, I've got like a tracking spreadsheet that I use sometimes, and I've got a link to it where you can see and use it if you would like. So, alright. So we've got these 4 battleships. And we'll just start taking them out. Each of these has a bounty of 500,000. That one's 712,000, 540k, 540k. Usually, if you're looking to figure out which one the trigger is, if in a group of like named ships, the one with the higher bounty is often the culprit. So keep your eyes peeled for that. And we can get our medium drones out and use them. I don't think it's necessary. We're doing just fine. So I'm gonna send them after I'm gonna take out the 2 lower bounty ships first. And that's because they're gonna die faster and I can remove that damage from the field faster as well. So if we look at the ship as it is right now, I've got about 875 DPS with the drones out. Drones add about 100 DPS. So what we need to do is make sure that our drones stay on the same thing that I'm shooting, because I'm the bigger threat. It will usually focus on me instead of the drones themselves. Whereas if the drones were on this other battleship, instead of on the target I was attacking, then it will find them to be threatening and attack them. All right, so that should wrap this up as far as the combat portion is concerned. Like I said, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let the recording run and continue to like talk and sort of go through the whole salvage and loot process as I go through it. So I've got this mobile tractor unit here, and effectively what it does is it takes everything within, I think it's 120 kilometers, and it tractors it to it. It loots it, holds the loot inside the ship, but then there's just this ball of wrecks that you can come and salvage very easily, which is why people come and pirate salvage, where they'll scan down your mobile tractor unit and then just start salvaging the wrecks that are collected around it. So since they can scan that down really easily, they can pretty quickly and easily find free salvage. And if you shoot them, they can then go and grab a PvP ship and kill you, which is a lot of times what they're looking to do anyway. So it's very frustrating. I usually warp back to the mobile tractor unit, I pick it up, and then I warp out of there, hoping that they will get scrambled and killed by the NPCs that I was trying to kill. So that's the one thing that you can do. So I'm going to go to the mobile tractor unit, and you can see if I look at the loot and look at all of the wrecks and see how far away they are. It looks like it still has to pull them in, these other ships in, from 60 kilometers away. So, or 60 meters, 60 kilometers, yeah. And it pulls them in at 1 kilometer per second, effectively. So for each one of these at 60 kilometers, it's going to take a minute to tractor that in. So that gives me time to come over to the mobile tractor unit. I check the cargo. Usually what I'll do is I stack it. I see that I've got about 7 million worth of loot in there. And then I'll go through and try to figure out what is worth the most. So, and then I just start grabbing and dropping it into my hull. So let's see, that's worth a decent amount. Sometimes you'll get like a really big loot item that's worth a bunch, and as such you may want to get it off the field, so to speak, before, like these, right? So this has an estimated worth of 3.5 million, and this one is 1.8. So between the two, I've got 5.3 million ISK in loot right there. So by pulling those out, now there really is not very much of worth in here. So what I may do is I may just leave it here and let it continue pulling things in. And there's, yeah, all right, so that's another decent one. Anything over 100K I usually will grab and keep. Or if it's something like these, which get used quite a bit, then I might sort of grab that as well. But let's see. Nope. All right. So I'm going to leave this here. And in the meantime, I'm going to warp back to the dock.
Warp drive active.
I'm going to leave personally, I leave the mission active. Some people like go and hand in the mission. I have more than enough. I've got 4 hours left to hand it in to still get the 1.3 million ISK bonus reward. So I'm not too concerned about that. But yeah, I guess there's an argument to be made. I'm not intimately familiar with it for for sort of closing out the mission and then going back and salvaging it, which is why I saved that bookmark of where the mobile tractor unit is. I'm not concerned about that, and usually my bigger concern is the mission timer. I'm okay on the mission timer, and I want to go grab my my salvage ship before, and just let that mobile tractor unit continue to do the work it needs to do. It's going to be a few minutes before it finishes. So I hop over here, I get into Martha. Come on, Martha. All right. And just to see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And 8 salvagers on Martha. And I've got expanded cargo hold 2s on there. So if I just come back out here then, immediately undock. Normally, if you have a salvage ship, it's usually a good idea to have tractor beams on it. But because I've got this mobile tractor unit, it is doing all of the tractoring, so I don't need to pull anything closer to myself. you know, I've got what is probably a micro warp drive on here so that I can zip around the you know, the combat zone pretty quickly to grab, you know, because everything's far apart. You kill stuff over here, you kill stuff way over there. You know, you're just trying to survive. You're not trying to kill everything in the same area, which is partly why, yeah, let's approach this. Partly why these mobile tractor units are very useful. And not only are they useful, but they're quite valuable. They're usually about 10 million ISK each, but it saves you a lot of time. So, all right. Yeah, the mission objective is complete. And about 20 kilometers out, I'll boost that up to 1200. Bring us back. Here we go. So again, I'm Minmatar, and I've got these kind of kludgy looking ships, but I like them. So, all right. Usually I put 2 on each one. What I might do is like 2, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, just to use all of my target slots. But and it gets done pretty quickly. And I just, you know, click through them one by one. And because they're all right here, I can just sit in the same spot while this takes the next 3.5 minutes to pull the last few wrecks in and just salvage things as fast as I can. And as you can see, my capacitor takes a hit, but I believe, if I recall, I've got, yeah, I just grab things that I loot and use them to help out what I'm, you know, sort of trying to do. So this is a capacitor battery, which increases capacitor storage. Then that's just a matter of lining up which open slot lines up with the one that you've got left. It's really quite simple. Salvage takes up a very small amount of storage space. So you shouldn't worry about filling up your cargo with salvage. Now, don't forget to grab your mobile tractor unit if you're there. It's like a cargo container, so you can loot it. If you pull the mobile tractor unit into your cargo bay without looting it, it'll just drop a canister with all of your loot in it. So that's going to be what takes up the majority of your cargo space, is just the loot that this thing is grabbing from ships. So there's that one. And just a minute more and it'll have pulled in the last ship. So these large wrecks are the ones that really give quite a bit of salvage. My capacitor is almost kaput. I'll just slow down a little bit. And as the last one gets sucked in, we can check our loot here. And wait for the little icon to leave, and boop, all right, we got all the loot there. So I always start by scooping the mobile tractor unit to the cargo hold and then looting out of the container, just because you really don't want to accidentally leave your... The mobile tractor unit is by far the most expensive thing that you've got there. But if we look at just the salvage, it looks like we picked up a paltry 1.5 million in salvage, which is not great. But the salvage and the loot that we didn't already take back came to about 2.1. So that's not bad. So we'll head back. We'll dock. There's nothing else here.
Warp drive active.
We cleaned it up. And I think we're about done. So I'm out here to have fun and to make money. So there is a way to blitz the mission, which involves like just going in and completing it as fast as possible. And it's dangerous, but it just kills, you kill all the triggers, spawn the last battleships, kill the battleships, and then get out. And that marks the mission as complete. And that's banking on the value of these loyalty points. So some people blitz as many missions as possible, and they're like, they just decline missions until they find one that is an easy blitz, and they do that. And yeah, there are suggestions on how best to do that on this EVE survival site. So we'll view the mission, we'll complete it. We picked up 3 million right there, and we're good to go. So that is Buzzkill, and that's a level 4 mission, and I'm back in the saddle again. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.